Hey sports fans, I'm here with Frodan, caster for NASL 3. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, man. Thanks.
So why don't you just introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about your past accomplishments and stuff like that, where you've been, where you've come from.
Yeah, so my name is Chou. I go by the name Frodan. I cast for the North American Star League. I regularly cast here with Gretorp. I work with Mr. Bitter and RotterDaM, as well as a lot of people there at NASL. I started off casting for organizations like CSL and a lot of like the online cups, things like Zeke and Playhem and all these other organizations. I worked a lot of local lands like SoCal esports events, and I started from online cups into like small lands, and now I'm working here at a big event, and I couldn't be more excited.
Awesome. Just backpacking off what you just said, so you started with CSL. Just personally, as just an interesting thing, how is it like seeing CSL come so far? I mean, you have games being broadcast on the main stage, you know, huge universities, you know, universities are starting to rise as kind of like premier StarCraft places. What's that like for you seeing that firsthand?
It's huge. I mean, the biggest thing that I appreciate about CSL is that it's not just an investment into the current, right, the current crop of students, it's the future, because these players they're the ones that are going to be graduating and who can say, I want to go full-time pro. These players, some of them are pro, like Astoji, QXE was in CSL. I mean, even people like Day9 and Gretorp was involved with CSL, and they are the ones who were pro players for a while in the scene. So I think this is not just for the growth of CSL, it's not just for the present, but it's for the future, and I really appreciate that. I love the fact that Xeris and people are giving scholarships out to colleges, like here's $1,000 because of your great achievement that you're trying to balance StarCraft and studying as well, and that way parents, the upper generation, can understand it as well. And I think that kind of things is what really grows the scene. It's not necessarily just a bigger event, but these kinds of things that permeate into our culture is the things that really grow esports.
That's a great answer. So how's this season? Just speaking, this is the first time you've worked with NASL for a full season.
Oh man, the first season work with NASL has just been a revelation. I mean, I feel like I've grown so much as a caster, just not with the way I say things, not the way I present myself, but how I interact even with my other casters, even how I look at the game. My eyes have been open. I owe so much to everyone I work with, especially my producer, Morgan. He's just been doing phenomenally. He's the guy that wears a hat all the time at the event, always the white shirt. He's been working with me nonstop. When we film segments, he's always telling me how to improve. It sucked so much the first week because I was so bad. Like, I thought I was always good in front of the mic, but in front of the camera it's just a different game because you have to present yourself different, you have to act different. I'm still not perfect, I still am learning small things to take out, but just like the way you have to clean up language is really hard, like in terms of making things more precise and how you approach things to become more eloquent. It's a struggle to become more presentable in front of the camera. So those things I worked on, and I can't wait for season 4 where I get to work on these things further.
And I have to ask, how's it been coming to Canada for the first time, like being the first major esports event to really break into this kind of market? How's it been interacting with the crowd? Like, give us your thoughts on what it's been like in Canada.
Yeah, I think organizations are just missing out. I mean, there's just so many things here in Canada. There's a lot of opportunities. I feel like when people say that live events are like kind of dragging down organizations because like, you can't make really a successful model off of it, I think that they're forgetting places like Canada. Canada is one of the premier areas where I think people just really want stuff to happen. They make a joke of it, right? The event, you say the word Canada, everyone explodes, but that's the thing. People are beaming with pride. I wave a Canadian flag, people go nuts. It's just, people here are so passionate about esports and they really want more events. And I think they deserve it. They've really proven it through NASL Season 3 finals that they should get more attention from the community, from sponsors, from organizations. And I can't wait to see more development, especially in the Toronto area. And I think it's funny too, because we're not even in the heart of Toronto, and this is the kind of, there's only standing room, and we added 300 chairs like yesterday, and we knew we would run out of space further. It's ludicrous.
Cool. So next question I have for you is, what's it like working with, you know, casters like RotterDaM, Mr. Bitter, who've been like, you know, working for ESL and stuff like that for so long, and of course Gretorp, who's been with NASL since day one. Yeah. Like, who do you prefer working with? Who do you know? Oh
man, oh, I gotta unbutton the shirt a little bit for this one, man. I'm really warm right now. That's why. First of all, like Mr. Bitter and RotterDaM are just they're so funny. God, they're so funny. Like I can't not look at them and break up cracking. That's not the way I want to say it. I can't look at them and not crack up because I think of like all the funny things that happen. I've only known them for a few months. They've been such great people, especially Mr. Bitter. He's the guy that that mentors me a lot. I know it sounds silly, and I hope he never watches this interview, but Mr. Bitter is definitely one of the most genuine people in esports because he truly cares about the game. He truly cares about the players. He truly cares about the tournaments. And his fame is so secondary, and people like him and RotterDaM deserve every single piece of fame that they ever receive because they work so hard. And it's just like, especially with like things, this is a huge tangent, but especially with things like his Razor House, Mr. Bitter's training facility for pros that really, he wants to develop that North American scene. Seeing that kind of work put into it, seeing how he talks to people, how he's able to present himself, not just from a caster, but as like a businessman, is just an absolute delight to watch, and I've just been so lucky. So to answer your question, when it comes to any project related to NASL, the #1 person I love working with is Mr. Bitter.
That's a great answer.
Oh, I want to talk about Gretorp too. Yeah, Gretorp's so good because Gretorp has taught me so much about StarCraft 2. And I always thought myself to be like a guy who learned a lot about the game, but never really got to explore at the highest levels. And he gives me these peaks of understanding into the highest tip-top levels of understanding. And the way he thinks is just so cool. And I talk to him all the time about different things of ideologies, and he's just a really intelligent guy, through and through, one of the smartest people I've ever met.
So do you develop yourself by playing a lot, or like, I mean, as a caster? Do you develop yourself by playing a lot of ladder, or do you watch a lot of VODs, kind of? Like, what's your favorite method to just try and keep yourself sharp in terms of casting ability?
I do both. I live, eat, and breathe and poop StarCraft, man. It's ridiculous. I wake up 10, 11 a.m. because I'm a gamer, I'm lazy. I wake up 10, 11 a.m. I watch some VODs from GSL yesterday, or anything I might have missed that's over in Korea or in the European scene. Like, that's how I caught Home Story Cup. I'd watch that until maybe 12, go into work at 12, and play ladder until our meetings at 2 to 3. And then I have the meetings, and then I go back to laddering and play as much as I can if I'm not broadcasting. On a broadcast day, I wake up around like same time, same exact thing, watch VODs, and then come ladder until our production meeting, and then research our players like crazy, watch the past 10 games at least, write down their tendencies, the times they do things, like very specific things, and then I prepare stuff. And then it came to the point where I had this ridiculous compilation of written notes, so I just threw it all out and put it all on an iPad, and that's the only successful use I've ever found of an iPad in esports. But other than that, man, I just do both. I played, I think, 300 games of ladder this season, and I wish I could play more. Like, I'm honestly just so excited just to be able to ladder all the time. It's frustrating though, because I play random, so I'm playing every single race every season. This season I'm playing Terran, and that has not gone well. I'm still like top 20 Masters though right now, and I really think I can crack top 8 if I play a little bit better, but right now I'm still struggling.
So, are there any plans you can share with us personally or as an organization for NASL for next year, coming up? Yeah,
so NASL, we dream big, and I know it sounds silly because every organization dreams big, like what they can do, but we dream like ridiculous. I always joke with Ben, Mr. Bitter, that if we won the lottery, we would spend all of it doing one dream. And then we spend it probably on the first night, because we have such ridiculous things that we want to take StarCraft, we want to take esports in, and the ideas that evolve from that, because we're not going to be able to ever do some of the most lavish things we want to do across the world. The ideas is that it invigorates us, it gives us passion, it gives us excitement that literally every night we realize that it's closer to a goal, and I know that we're getting more resources to do bigger things in this future. I can't say anything because of NDA, but I know that as the upcoming months, there will be cooler things. Season 4 will be so good, and because there's going to be lots of surprises, not even just with StarCraft 2, it's going to be lots of cool extra content. We want to make it so that if StarCraft ever has to hit TV, we're ready, because we have all these segments, we have news, we have cool content, so that way we can fill up a broadcast time. I mean, that's the whole struggle, right? If we go to TV or we go to something, that's not the end goal. If that's the case that ever gives us a medium for mainstream, we are prepared. You know, we want to be able to present things in a way that people are like, wow, I can expect this every night. We want to make it daily content, we want to make it accessible, we want to make it entertaining, and all these kinds of things really come to a factor of the upcoming next year. And so that's to answer your question about what to look forward to.
So this is a large debate in the esports community, especially the StarCraft community. If this game specifically is prepared, ready for mainstream TV or TV at all. Of course, there's been a lot of waves being made in the news recently with CBSI and stuff like that, MLG partnering with them. Do you personally feel like StarCraft 2 is something that could make a transition to syndicated television?
That's a phenomenal question, and it's always a loaded one because it's like, well, how do we go? If we do we go on like the CBS channel, like the main cable, or do we go to basic cable? Do we go to like the G4 or something that's like a cable package? And I think that ultimately depends on our community. I think a lot of people like try to say, is the game ready? I think the game is the game, and how we present it is always going to be the way we present it. We're not going to be like, well, we need this caster to present it like mainstream. We need people like Total Biscuit and DJ Wheat to present it in a very way that families can love it. We need people who can do analysis and everything like that. And everyone tries to categorize it. But the way I like to see it is that it all depends on whether or not we are ready to embrace the fact that the game would get a lot more popular that way. The people would see what we like, and there's going to be harsh criticisms from both ways. People who want to succeed and people who want to fail. Just like anything that's mainstream, Justin Bieber has millions of fans and millions of anti-fans. Like, the community has to be ready for it. And our community has so many people who disagree, who argue, who yell at each other just over such very trivial things. And that's not the worst thing in the world, right? Because at least people are talking and active. But I prefer a lot of unity, because when the time comes and other people see it, they're going to be hating on it too, and people need to be able to gather together under one cause of making esports succeed, because there's lots of people that would, when they see this thing growing, love to shut it down just like any other anti-fan movement.
Well, Dan, that's all the questions I have for you today, man. Thank you so much for sitting down with us.
Yeah, of course.
Would you like to do any shout-outs?
Yes, I love to do shout-outs, man. I'm just so thankful to everyone who's ever helped me get here. The guys at CSL, obviously, they gave me my first casting start ever. Diggity StarCraft, who basically pushed me to get NASL job, he always would lobby me. I want to thank my sister, who's the only family member who really believed in me for casting. She's the one who told me to go on. And I want to thank a lot of people who pushed me, from like the Playham people as well, like Luca and all these other great people like Ben, just because they've believed in me from the beginning. They told me that one day I'd go big, and I don't think I'm that big, but this is bigger than anything I've ever dreamed of, so I want to thank them as well. Oh, and my buddy Echo, because I want him to be as successful as a pro gamer one day.
All right, Dan, thanks a lot for your time.
Thank you.